Hello, my dears and my darlings. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world. This is going to be a message for the next 24 hours from whenever you happen to see it. I will be labeling it as November 3rd because I'm posting it in time for the 3rd where I am. But like I said, you might be in a different time zone. You might see it in a few months or years. So we're setting the intention as a message for the next 24 hours whenever you see it. Happy birthday, November 3rd, babies, and happy birthday to you if it's your birthday on whatever random day you happen to see this message. I do have a survey question at the end, so I know my OGs will stick around for that. Ooh. Today's card is quite interesting. We have the Five of Cups, and this can come up in a different ways. Most famously, right, this is a card that we see that comes up when there may be elements or feelings of um, disappointment, like things not going the way that you had hoped or things not going the way that you had planned. So there could be disappointment here or accepting disappointment. I do feel for some of you, I'm hearing first step. Okay. And so this may be the first step in being able to call in what's for you. Some people may say, well, I just want, oh, this is going to trigger another message now. Oh my goodness. Okay. Some of you are like, I just want what's meant for me, right? I just like, why can't I be happy? Does God hate me? Does the universe hate me? God wants me to be alone. Universe wants me to be alone. I see it happen in the private reading. Somebody will request a private reading. I do the reading, and the person will write back and say, and this does not happen very often. It's only happened a handful of times in the 3, 4, no, longer than that. I've not been on YouTube very long, but I've been doing private readings longer than I've been on YouTube. But I'm gonna say in the last 6 or 7 years that I've been doing consistent private readings. It's only happened a handful of times, but I'll do a reading and somebody is like really devastated, even though there were really good things, right? Like good things came about money, good things came in about love life, but they had something very specific in their mind. And when that didn't show up in the reading, they were like, forget it. Then I don't want anything. God hates me. And I'm like, that was not in the reading at all. Like, I don't know why we're looking at it in this way, but some of you just might feel like frustrated, like you're wanting to be happy, but we might first have to accept and process that some things we wanted or some things that we were working towards did not happen. Okay, they did not happen, and in some cases are not going to happen, and we have to accept that. And it's okay to be sad about it, and it's okay to cry, it's okay to be angry and get those feelings out of our system, right? So that now we can pick up our cups and we can fill it with something new, something better. Okay, oftentimes we don't see it, we don't realize it, but when things don't work out for us, it's because it's not what we think it is. It's not what we think it is. And God, universe, angels, guides knows better. It's kind of like a little kid walking down the sidewalk with its parent, and they see a bright, shiny, bright red lollipop there on the sidewalk, right? And they start screaming and crying because they want that lollipop. They want to pick it up off the sidewalk and they want to go and, put that lollipop in their mouth. And the parent is like, no, you can't have that lollipop. Why? It's a perfectly good lollipop. It's just sitting right there. It's nobody's, right? It's nice and bright red and shiny, and the kid doesn't understand. The kid can throw a tantrum, right? And the parent might say it's dirty, it's dirty. It's dirty because it's sitting on the sidewalk, but that kid looks at it and goes, it doesn't look dirty to me. It's clean. It's shiny. I don't see any dirt on it. It's not dirty, right? So sometimes we're kept from certain things because there's something we don't know. There's something we don't see, or it's not what we're expecting or anticipating. And the sooner that kid can stop crying over that lollipop, it can go to the toy store, it can go to the ice cream shop, it can go to the park, it can go on and go do something else. But we do that sometimes. We get stuck on something. And so, okay, let's cry about it. Let's be upset about it. That's okay. Get it out of your system, but trust and know there's something better. There's something about the current situation that we don't know or we don't see. Okay. I'm sure if you think back on your own life, back on the past, about situations that you really wanted when you were younger, or people you really wanted when you were really younger, and you're like, think about it now and you're like, oh my gosh, I was so crazy about that person, or I was, just so in love, or oh man, I wanted that job so bad, or I laugh sometimes when I think about what my dream life was when I was like 16, 17. I'm not even gonna say because it's so cringe and it's so not for me. But you might think back, and it didn't happen, and I was so devastated when it didn't happen. But I'm happy now because I would have been miserable. Oh my God, I would have been so miserable if my life turned out the life I dreamed at 16, 17. So there's something here that uh, eventually you're going to see, right? You're going to see that, okay, just like I'm glad that I didn't end up with this person or I didn't have this situation, I'm going to be glad about this current thing, right? Something is going to come. Some of you are going to find out you dodged a bullet. You didn't even know it, okay? But you're going to find out here and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm so glad that that didn't happen for me, or I see now how that wasn't meant for me. And we can begin to open up to receive the new things. So give yourself time and permission to process and grieve and be disappointed over the things that didn't pan out, but also have the faith and know that something better is coming to take its place, right? Um, I just thought of the Garth Brooks song, Sometimes I Thank God for Unanswered Prayers. The other message I was going to say, and this is kind of somewhat related, it's not going to be for every single one of you, but I'm getting that spirit nudge to say it. If you are feeling completely and totally, um, this is going to be a message about God, okay? Those of you who see the universe as like there's a God, like there's a God and the universe is not God, but like there's God, and you're feeling like, God hates me. God doesn't answer my prayers. I ask, I beg, I plead, and God doesn't help me, right? We talked about how sometimes the things we want are not what we think that they are, and it's a protection that we're not getting it. The other aspect is this: we're all going to have times in our life that we may be angry at God. That's understandable. And that's something we have to work through as a part of our personal journey, our spiritual journey. I know I've been there. I've been very angry with God and questioning if God exists, and if God does exist, I was so angry at God for like things that happened or things that I went through, or just feeling very abandoned at certain times in my life. But we have to make peace through our spiritual journey, through our healing, through connecting with nature and being in appreciation of creation, and work on healing that part of us. And then look at our life. If you are asking for help from God, if you're waiting for God to do something nice for you, or you're waiting for God to come in and bring in a blessing, right? What is your relationship with God like? It's time to work on that relationship. It's not that you're being punished, but if you're wanting to be connected, if you're wanting to be in that flow, we have to have a relationship. And we can't do that if we're speaking negatively about God, if we have anger for God, if we have rage. We have to come into the forgiveness and the understanding. And sometimes it's just, I'm not even gonna lie, it's just plain blind putting your faith that I'm just gonna go on this journey, I'm gonna give this a chance, I'm gonna hope for the best and see what happens. That's what happened with me. I was just like, I'm just gonna clean slate, I'm gonna try to do the right things, I'm gonna work on healing, I'm just gonna keep it open and see what happens. And I worked on establishing that connection through being in nature, going swimming, being in the water. Water is very spiritual for me. Meditating, And through healing and through connecting with water, with nature, that really resonated with me, I was able to establish a relationship with God, which I thought I had growing up in the church, but I didn't. Okay. And then, so we want to also we want to look at, like, are we aligned with what we're asking for, or the blessing that we're asking for? Are we listening to really sad music, really sad songs, really sad movies, really angry movies? We're gonna call in more of that energy, that heartbreak, that anger, that frustration. Are we engaging in entertainment that mocks God, or disrespects God, or makes fun of God, or insults God? If you had a friend who was coming to you and asking you for help, but they were going around and, like, laughing at you or making fun of you or talking a bunch of trash about you, it's going to be hard for you to have a relationship with that person, or to help that person if they're coming in with this energy of, like, you know not being loyal, not respecting you, the same respect that you would give to a spouse, or to a best friend, or a person that were coming and asking for help. How much more worthy of that would a supreme spiritual being be? So we can be angry, we can cry, we can get these things out of our system, and have faith that something better is coming. Have faith that God is a loving God, the universe is a loving universe, and is not going to keep good things away from you. That there is something better. There may be about the situation something you're not seeing or you're not realizing, right? And eventually it'll make sense down the road, where you're like, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that other thing didn't happen. I'm so glad that other thing didn't work out. Um, and all I can tell you is, I'm telling you from my own experience, this is true. And so try to have that faith and that trust. Just be open to what's coming in. Take the time to get the frustration out, and then just go ahead and pick up your cups and be ready for them to be filled up, because they will be filled up. Another way the Five of Cups comes in is, we might be really overwhelmed with changes that we're going through. There could be even good things happening in your life, but you feel overwhelmed. You're scared to let it in because you feel overwhelmed by feeling or emotion, and you're really tempted to numb yourself or to push these feelings down. And this card can come up to say, look, do your best to just be gentle with yourself, go easy with yourself, but don't push down the emotions. Don't stifle your feelings. That creates blockages. Sometimes Five of Cups is someone that's having a really hard time feeling. Like, feeling feels very overwhelming. So again, you can just go slow and try to comfort yourself, try to pamper yourself. If you do have these disappointments coming up, or just fear of the past repeating itself, maybe you just need to let yourself grieve or mourn certain situations or people, and lay them to rest, and be open to knowing something new is coming in, and I can let myself feel a little bit at a time. I can go slow. I can take baby steps. But whatever you do, don't stifle yourself. Don't turn yourself off. Try to resist the urge to numb yourself or self medicate in some way. And little by little, it'll get easier to feel and to open up and to receive. Okay. Now, um, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave the message there. For the survey question, I have two quick survey questions. The first one being, I'm getting ready to purchase the first round of donations for Toys for Tots. I don't really have children in my life. I'm no longer teaching. I'm not around kids. I'm really out of the loop. So maybe you guys can let me know in the comments, those of you who have kids or around kids, like, what are the toys the kids are wishing for for Christmas this year? Like, what are the popular toys, or the popular, yeah, just in general, popular toys, the hot toys. Let me know in the comments, because I'm kind of like, I'm not sure what to get. I tried to search online, but a lot of it looked like it was just sponsored stuff, or like people like paid and ended up on like a blog saying, "Oh, this is a great toy." So I want to hear from those of you who have who know what the word on the street is, who are around kids and know what the kids are really into right now. The second survey question. Um, I have been wanting to put together an event. As you guys know, I wanted to do the tarot workshop. I'm gonna have to start smaller and just kind of get my bearings, but I am feeling pushed to start doing events. One of the big issues I had was it was really expensive. It was really expensive to rent space, and it there was other things I had to pay for, like insurance and stuff, daily insurance, and other things that come into it. So to do an event and to open it up for people, I had to charge a lot. I had to charge a lot to cover the cost. But there's an expo that happens every few months in different locations, and I used to rent space from them back before I did the YouTube channel, and they were pretty good events, and there were a lot of other vendors there, and then they would give me time to have a talk or a discussion, like a meeting room. And so I want to do something here with people where we can either get together and do some kind of sound healing or meditation, or like a quick little talk or lecture. And those would only be, I think the admission for those events are only $10. And then I could also do during the day one-on-one in-person private readings for those of you who would like to do an in-person private reading. I'm just curious as to how many of you think you would show up for something like that. The admission is $10, so you would get in for $10, which is way, 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 way less inexpensive. What I would have to charge if I was renting out space myself. They're doing all that other stuff. They have all the other vendors. They'll give me space, but I also need to work out with them like how big of a space might I need for doing like a private little talk or lecture. I don't know why I can't talk today, for 30 minutes or for an hour or whatever. So let me know how many of you would be likely to show up to something like that. And it would be, I think they do them like Carlsbad, San Diego, Los Angeles, Sacramento. I know some of you are in different states, but at least those of you who maybe feel like you could travel to those areas or would be likely to do that for something in person, let me know so that I can get back with them and I can figure out, what they're gonna charge me, and how much space I can get. The last thing I would want is to have people show up and then have to turn people away, not having enough space. So it'll help me get things down planned. If you can let me know how many of you think you would show up in Sacramento or Carlsbad, San Diego, Los Angeles, for an event where you could do an in-person private reading with me, as well as like some meditation or healing or some kind of lesson in a group setting. Uh, and let me know if any of you in the comments are people that met me when I was doing that. Because I know that I did get a lot of people that began getting readings for me regularly when I was doing those events. It really expanded a lot. A lot of new people came in, but it was before I had the YouTube channel. So I'm curious if any of you were at any of those events. And if you have any suggestions about how, like, to make that experience better, let me know. I know some people felt kind of like, well, I don't know if it wasn't this private. People were walking by and listening. I have things in store for that too, like plans I have. Um, and so those are things I'm working with. But any suggestions you have of any of you who've been at these events, of something you would like, do let me know in the comments. I thank you all for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. I hope you all have a fabulous, fabulous day ahead. I hope you'll come back and check out tomorrow's message as well. Take care and be well, my darlings.